So welcome to this very special TWAM Day. While it's not the way we would have chosen to do a TWAM Day, it's a great opportunity for us to share with our supporters and our volunteers across the whole country. We've based it here, as you can see, in our Ipswich Refurbishment Centre and head office. And as ever, before me are some of the tools ready to go out in our next container to Zambia. And during the next hour, we're going to show you around this entire place. You're going to meet the volunteers, you're going to meet the staff, and you're going to hear some amazing stories of lives transformed because of your support of Tools with a Mission. So I hope you enjoy this hour as much as we have all enjoyed preparing it. Thank you.
Hello there and welcome to the first ever TWAM Online. My name's Trev, I'm the Refurbishment Centre Manager, and what we're going to do today is give you a virtual tour of Tools with a Mission, as we would anyone coming down to visit and see what we do. So I'll be taking you through the various different stages of what we do here and introducing you to some of our wonderful volunteers. Okay, so here's something we just spend quite a lot of time doing. This is one of the vans that's come in from Kent today. We're just emptying out. As you can see, Sheldon, our apprentice here, is just emptying the van out now. It's going into our goods in area. We get quite a few vans in. We've got a van network that runs around the UK. And so this is our one from Kent, and it's just nearly emptied now into our goods in sorting area. So guys, today's tour is going to be slightly different in the way that obviously we've got this pandemic going on at the moment. So as you can see, we've got notices here that now mean that we have to take you around a different way because obviously we're COVID secure at TWAM. Do you want to follow me? And this is the sewing machine area. This is the first area you come to when you come into the workshop. This is our team, the guys readily repairing sewing machines. They repair industrial sewing machines, treadles, electric, manuals. If it's a sewing machine, it's dealt with here. So you can see they're just working on different machines. Obviously we send out around about between 200 and 300 machines every container. So it's we're constantly in setting up sewing machines, and until you've been to Tools with a Mission, you've never seen so many sewing machines in your life. They're well needed though. Okay guys, so here's one of the parts of the refurbishment area. They work on planes. So you can see here we've got Keith and we've got Graham. They've both been volunteering for TWAM for many years. So they'll take a plane that's come in that's looking pretty rough, and they'll turn it into something that's really quite good. And here Graham will just show you an example of the type of work they do around here.
That's usually as they come in that sort of state, and this is how we do them up, ready to send.
So basically they'll strip every single part down, it's sharpened and it's oiled, it's all put back together, and then it's got many years of service still to come for the people that need it. Thanks very much guys.
Okay.
Right, this is another set part of the refurbishment area. Okay, basically in this area we make up the carpentry kits, so using the planes that the guys have kindly refurbished here, and with hammers that we've refurbished and saws, we make up the carpentry kits here. There's two grinders further down, those two are used for drill sharpening. We send out loads and loads of drill bits here. In the corner we do power tools. We also work on petrol mowers and chainsaws and things outside the building obviously. And then opposite we've got an area where we do electricians kits, and then just to the other side of it we do vices, which I'll show you an example of a before and after vice later. Leading down following the directional arrows, which of course we have to have in place at the moment. A lot of the equipment here is equipment to be refurbished for builders kits, so we've got all the different items we need for there. They're cleaned and sent out, senior hacksaws and lots of other items. And we also have knitting machines which are here, and you can see some of the knitting machines there. These are ones that are ready to go. We have an area upstairs where they're worked on, but this is initially where we store them. So moving down from knitting machines, we've got the power tool area just to our left, and we put all the completed power tools that have had new belts put on, and we've checked all the electrics, they're safe to go, they've got guards on. They go over here, and then we then box them off, the smaller tools off ready to go. Larger tools I'll show you later. We have quite a lot of those in the warehouse as well. We send out all sizes of tools here. So I said earlier about the vices. So vices will come in normally in this condition. We get all different shapes and sizes. Obviously main engineering vices as such, and also carpentry vices like those there. And these are the ones that are now ready to go. As you can see, they're in fantastic condition now. We have a guy called Charlie, who we call Charlie from the Vice Squad, and he basically refurbishes all these vices. He strips them down, he oils them, and he puts them with a nice fresh coat of hammerite, which will keep them going for years. As you can see, they're now really a thing of beauty. And they also get sent out with a set of nuts and bolts for everyone. Okay, so this is the haberdashery area, and you can see the ladies here packing boxes of haberdashery. So when we send an item out, say we send out a sewing machine or we send out a knitting machine or a carpentry kit, we don't just send the item out that can do the work, we send out items that can go with it as well. So ladies at the moment are packing up lots of material, needles, all sorts of different things that people can use out there. Right, so next to the haberdashery area is IT. I'll just take you to the IT area and show you here. So we send out lots and lots of computers and laptops. They're upgraded. We put a basic version of software on there, and we wipe all the hard drives on the machines. And if you need proof when you donate to us that we've cleared, we send a certificate to say we've wiped all the data off the PC. And you see Ollie over there working in the corner, so he's working on the PCs. A little thing to note about this department is everything that's in here, all the electrics, has all been done by volunteers. Our volunteers are great, and we obviously opened up this area, and we get quite a lot of machines from schools and colleges and universities, but they're well needed out there. We also send out network kits as well. How many years have you been here, Ollie?
I hardly remember. I think it's 15.
15 years, yeah, 15 years, yeah. This is Jean's area. In here is where we do knitting yarn and materials and knitting needles. And this is Jean, who's working in this area at the moment. It's one thing we're always short of at the moment. We never seem to have enough patterns. As you can see, Jean's working through patterns there to go out with the equipment we send. As I say, we don't just send out an item, we send out everything to help you with that item. If it's a carpentry kit, we send out nuts and bolts, some screws and things to help. So that's what Jean's doing here. So she'll be making up sacks of yarn which go out. It's quite a lot we send out on every load. So what sort of stuff are you short on at the moment, Jean?
At the moment I'm patterns, knitting, hand knitting and machine knitting patterns. Sometimes we have lots of machine knitting magazines in, but we've got none at the moment. And we do send quite a lot out with each pack, so that they've at least got patterns in the magazines if they haven't got any separate patterns. But hand knitting, I'm struggling to make up 6 packs at the moment.
Okay, so the central part here of the warehouse, that's where we are at the moment. As you can see, these are all completed power tools down here. So we've got welders, we've got complete lathes, more welders there, we send out compressors. These are some of the larger items we send. Battery drills. So this whole area down here is full of stuff that is ready to go out, that's been refurbished. And you can see the amount of stuff we have here. Sewing machines. Before I came here, I'd never seen so many in my life. We've got sewing machines up here and all round. We've got several hundred here that are waiting to be refurbished. But because we do very well with sewing machines coming in, we're constantly clearing the new ones that are coming in and trying to get to the back ones. But these ones that you can see here, these ones are all ready to go. They've all been refurbished and they're ready to go, waiting for the next container. And down the side here again, large items like lathes that we take. We've also got PCs that are ready to go, and we've got lots more compressors, we have lawnmowers, chainsaws, petrol strimmers and all these sort of things that are well needed out there. Okay, so now to the most exciting part of the warehouse. This is where we load up all the goods that are refurbished by our volunteers come here. And this is now the next Zambia container, which is going on the 8th of September. This whole warehouse will be full. It will be filled up to the end here until we can barely move the forklift around. So as you can see here, we've got sewing machines, we've got haberdashery packs, we've got laptops, we've got generators, we've got garden tools, power tools, and we're about a third of the way through the order at the moment. So by the time we've finished, this will go right the way up there, and I say it'll be very hard to move till the container comes and then we load it up. You're talking around about 10 to 12 tonnes of equipment we will load onto that container, and it will take us about 4 hours to load it, a team of 4 with a forklift. You've got to bear in mind at the other end it's going to take them probably about 12 hours to unload, because they do everything manually. So we do appreciate, obviously, we're blessed with this equipment that helps us load it a lot quicker. All the stuff as well you can see up on the racks over here, is all sewing machines. As I said, we send out 200 to 300 different types of sewing machines, and you can also see the knitting machines that I spoke about before as well. These are ready to go, and also carpentry kits. We always need plenty of carpentry kits out there. And we do whole workshops as well, so we won't just send out a motor mechanics kit, we'll send out a motor mechanics workshop, ramps, larger items as well, trolley jacks, 2-ton trolley jacks, they'll all be sent as well. So yeah, and this is where it all comes, and it's a lovely site where you see it fall right up to the end, and we put it onto a container and the container's picked up. It's really what we're all about here at TWAM.
Hello, my name is Ella Sophia and I work in Tools of the Mission's head office in Ipswich. I'd like to talk a little bit about the journey to Africa with TWAM. The journey to Africa is long and inspiring. You might think that the start of the journey of our tours to Africa was in the UK with the donation of tools, but the journey actually starts somewhere else much further away. It starts in countries across Africa where individuals and groups of people get together to transform the community where they live. Groups like the Nakakabula Village Women's Group in Uganda. They live in a rural village with no electricity, running water or permanent employment. Everyone survives by growing vegetables and living hand to mouth on this meagre diet. None of the children go to school as there has never been enough money to pay the school fees. So the women decided that this must change and created a women's group to learn tailoring and earn some money. They decided what the need was and how best to meet it, and then applied to TWAM for the tools to make it possible. In their case, they applied for sewing machines to make clothes and agricultural tools to improve their farming skills, and this is where the journey begins. Following an application to TWAM, usually made online through our dedicated website and processed by our volunteer country coordinators, the journey continues with tools, often destined for landfill, being recycled and saved. TWAM recycles 250 tonnes of tools every single year. These are collected by our national team of over 250 volunteer collectors. Many requests to collect tools locally are due to bereavement and the desire to not send a loved one's tools to landfill. Many of our collectors see their role of bringing comfort to a grieving husband or wife as one of the most important aspects of their role. TWAM's fleet of vans, driven by volunteers, travel the country collecting tools from the collectors. Between them, they travel over 80,000 miles every year. The tools are then sorted, sharpened, and lovingly refurbished to full working order. They often end up looking as good as they did when they were bought, perhaps 50 or 60 years ago. The tools are then sorted into trade kits. TWAM provides kits for virtually every trade from tailoring to plumbing. The tools are then packed by hand into containers ready to be shipped to Africa. It's a long and often arduous journey, but eventually they arrive. And groups like the Nakakabula Women's Group can start their journey to livelihood creation. Within months, the women had started tailoring, set up a market stall in the nearby town, and were earning enough income to send all their children to school. They were also making school uniforms and clothes for the whole village and had even opened a bank account for their regular savings. Considering they started the group because nobody had any money, none of their children went to school and they barely survived on vegetables, this was remarkable. When you think that TWAM sends over 14,000 boxes of tools to help over 400 groups a year, you realise the amazing impact donated tools can have. It's an amazing journey, making an amazing impact.
Mindset is started in 2005 and as a CBO, and then we elevated to an NGO 2017. But our start was the strengths from Tools with a Mission. Tools with a Mission started supporting us in 2006 and gave us sewing machines. We started with sewing machines. They gave us cutlery, they gave us cooker, they gave us and other things to support communities around us. Mindset trains vulnerable girls and our emphasis on teenage mothers in catering, tailoring, knitting, handcraft, and handcrafts, yes, and knitting and knitting with sewing machines too. Knitters. We have produced over 226 by now, by skilling them, and now they are working on their own. We empower them in many things. Apart from skills, we also give we also train them in how to relate with other people, moral growth, and we do something which we got from the UK also, memory book training. This is about nurturing, parenting, and standing for your rights and documenting. We've had a good compact on the ground, and we are now recognized by the government as an institution. We take on a few so that we have good results. And because of TWAM, that's why we are succeeding. Most of our students leave the center with a kit of a sewing machine and a knitting machine. And then we have empowered people around us with the carpentry kits, builders kits, and electrical, those who do wiring and what do they call it, this welding in the communities around us. We have also supported some women and a few schools and churches. And it has had a very good impact on the ground. And our relationship with TWAM has grown from strength to strength. Sometimes we say TWAM is our source of strength because it has empowered us to do all that work and change people's lives.
Yeah. It's good to hear you talk, because I think a lot of our supporters are used to seeing images of tools being refurbished and all the work that happens here in the UK. It's good to hear the other side of it and what the tools actually achieve overseas. I wondered if there was a particular story of an individual that you might have or that you might know of from a different project that has been particularly had their life transformed by some of these tools. It could be an individual or a group of people, just a particular story that you might have. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah, it's all right. We train our publicity mainly is through churches, and a church in the suburb of Entebbe brought me a girl called Goretti, and she is physically handicapped. She was being segregated in other places, but someone who knew of mindset brought her to mindset. We trained her in tailoring and knitting. She uses one leg. She moves with a stick and a leg, and a stick, and then one of the leg is cannot move, but that's how she moves. And she uses one foot to pedal or use electricity. After training, we went ahead and connected her to a school which needed uniform after her graduation. So she had an office at school where she has an office up to date where she does uniform for that school and the living. And from that money, she put up a small shop. Most TWAM people have actually visited. If you say Goretti, they will know. She made a shop where she sells things. Then she helps her siblings. Unfortunately, she's an orphan. She has sent her siblings to school, and then she went ahead to rear pigs. She has a piggery project, and when her pigs when her things called, I have forgotten the English word, she sells the piglets, makes more money. She's building a house from that and supporting her siblings.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing those two stories. Is there any message you would like to say to the volunteers and supporters who are watching this TWAM Live today?
Oh yes, I appreciate them so much for sparing their time to do all that work, because the machines come when they are in perfect order, well refurbished. Then those small bulbs, they pack with extra scissors, threads, everything is put to good use. And they have we've learned a lot from that. How you put little things together that can help someone make something out. It's so amazing, so amazing. We love them, tell them their time is not a waste. They've changed people's lives. I wish they could all be carried here to see what they've done.
I'm sure lots of people will want to, Maureen, after hearing you talk. You might have a few more visitors coming out when we're allowed.
We would be very happy to have them come and see how they've changed people's lives.
Thank you. That's good. It's good to know. Yes, thank you for speaking. And have a lovely week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Amen. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam.
And welcome to the interviews.
Thank you very much.
Kindly tell us your name, please, and what you are doing at the moment.
Okay, my name is Justin Chibesasomi. I'm doing ICT at TWAM Day project.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Why did you decide to come to do this training?
I decided to do ICT because I was interested in ICT. I wanted to know more about ICT because my parents bought me a laptop, so I wanted to know more about ICT. So I decided to go at TWAM Day project because the price also is very flexible for young people to do certain skills there.
Okay, interesting. How is this learning of ICT has changed your life?
Learning ICT has really changed my life because I now know more about ICT, the use of ICT, because young youths nowadays just use computers anyhow, just doing it wrongly. But now I know the real importance about
You are saying that the tools you are using right now at the moment, you acquired them from TWAM. Now I want to find out what difference has TWAM Kits has made in your life.
Okay, TWAM has brought a big difference in our lives. When I came at TWAM Youth Project, we had few computers to use. Actually, we were sharing one computer to people. But when TWAM came in, it helped us a lot. It brought more computers, and we are able to actually sit on your own computer and work freely.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So what have you done after you finish your course? Then no computer, no laptop is given to you.
Okay, I would still appreciate, because TWAM Youth Project has imparted the skill that I really wanted. I could have used the same skill to actually have a livelihood. Yes.
And what are your future plans? Maybe 2 years, 3 years from now?
Okay, my future plans is to be more like Bill Gates, to open my own company of computers, fixing computers and creating more softwares.
Okay.
Yes.
So where do you intend to source these computers?
Okay, at TWAM Skills project.
I mean your own.
Yes, that's where I want to
Okay.
go to. Yes, they also taught us how to actually fix computers. So I would have, source for work somewhere to just repair computers and other things. Then source for finances so that I can start up that company of mine or that stationery shop of mine.
Okay, very interesting. Do you have anything else to say about Tools with a Mission, about your skills, anything? Do you have anything to say?
I want to appreciate TWAM for what they are doing. They should not stop. They should continue with the same speed, because without TWAM, they now been just nothing. So I want to thank TWAM for the support that they have given to the school, TWAM Youth projects. They should continue and help more people out there.
No, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
We wish you well as you continue with your future plans. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you.
What is your name, and tell us what you are doing at the moment?
My name is Mwashambanga, and I'm making doormats, making scarves, I'm making head socks and bags out of the cottons that I receive from TWAM.
Okay. What prompted you to start doing these things?
I had no means of raising money for my school. My plans are to raise funds so that I take myself to school, to college.
Okay. So, how has this project helped you?
It has really helped me because I'm able to sell what I'm making, like the doormats. As you can see, this is what I'm making out of the cottons that I receive. I also sell bags that I'm making out of the same cottons that I receive. I also sell the scarves and head socks, especially for this cold season. And I'm able to raise funds, of which I have.
Okay. So, what are your future plans, maybe 5 years from now?
My plans are to empower other youth who are struggling to go to school, to raise funds to manage their living.
And how are you going to empower those youths?
By teaching them how to make doormats, how to knit scarves, head socks, and make bags.
Okay. What word of advice do you have for TWAM? The people have been sending you these cottons.
I would like to encourage the people who are sending these things that they should continue with the same spirit of helping the people who are in need.
Okay. Do you have any other words to say?
I would love to say thank you to the people who have been doing this, and I would love to encourage them not to stop, but to just continue helping the people who are in need, because there are a lot of people out there who really have nowhere to start from. They are stuck in life. They need someone to help them. And I would love to encourage the TWAM people to continue with the same spirit, to continue helping the needy, the vulnerable, and God will bless them.
Amen. Thank you so much, and we wish you well as you continue with your future plans.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Sue and I have been volunteering for about five years. When I retired, we wanted to do something that was practical and useful, and TWAM fitted the bill really well. So yeah, just over 5 years we've been volunteering.
Yes, it's great, really, to have that. And the book
in refurbishing and packing carpentry kits. So the tools come in, and we'll clean them up, or fortunately others now clean them up for us in other places, and they come in. But since the lockdown, we've had a lot come in that's not been refurbished. So we refurbish. So we do some refurbishing, and then we make up carpentry kits, boxes to go out in the containers. So yeah, do that, and do a little bit of driving as well on a Friday to go to the refurbishment centres and collect from other places. These are pliers that we put in the kits, and it's just ensuring that, well, I think what we want to do is that those who receive them at the other end, that they will function, and they're as good as that we can get. We don't want to give them things that are going to not be useful to them, or not work, or look a bit scruffy. So we give them a bit of a once over before they go out. Favourite moment may well have been the opportunity to go to Zambia with Tools with a Mission. A small group went out, and Sue and I were invited to go with them, and it was just wonderful to go and see the people who'd received the tools out there and the big difference that it made to their lives in terms of making a place where they could actually earn money for themselves. So it really was about livelihood creation. It was inspirational to go, and so I suppose when I'm cleaning tools up, I think about the people out there who've received tools in the past, and it's transformed their lives. They're able to make a living for themselves, and also very often met an inspirational guy called Collins, who also took other people on and trained them. So that would be so. And you know, there's a real benefit about coming in ourselves. I mean, we're doing something that really helps other people in other countries, but actually I get something out of this as well. It helps structure my week. I'm doing something practical, and although there's not many in at the moment, there's a real sense of camaraderie with people, and as volunteers enjoying a conversation with others, and some of it's light-hearted, and some of it, Jim, is really quite deep and meaningful, and that's brilliant. Give it a go. Give it a go. Because, I mean, whatever skills you've got can be used. And if you don't think you've got any, I'm sure someone could draw them out from you to be able to be used. So, I mean, here I am just cleaning up a set square. But actually, really, if you've got the time and the patience, anybody could be trained to do that. So I think if you've got some spare time and like working with tools and doing something that's going to benefit someone else, then TWAM's your man, really. Blessing me and others.
The best thing about working with TWAM is that you're doing something that's useful. You feel that you're spending your time helping other folk rather than just amusing yourself all the time, and so it's quite rewarding doing it. But working with TWAM has got the triple win. You win because you're doing a useful job, you win because tools are being recycled rather than being dumped, and you win because you're doing something that's enjoyable, because you're talking and having a joke and a laugh with other folk while we're all working. So it's all win-win-win. That's the best thing. In terms of a good time, I don't think I could pull out one particular thing. Christmas is always good because it gets such marvellous food to eat. Well, I would think that if you've got an interest in just doing a little bit of hands-on DIY, this sort of work, then I would think it's ideal for guys to come along and give it a try. I mean, you don't have to be particularly skilled. I've always worked in an office environment, computers and things of this sort in my history, but I'm not really a great hands-on worker. But I much prefer doing hands-on work. It doesn't tax the brain too much, and you know, if you have an interest in just tools and things, especially old ones, we get all sorts of really interesting tools here, come along and give it a try. Rewarding, socially good. Well, that's two words, isn't it? Rewarding, sociable, and uplifting.
This is a very special TWAM Day for us, and for this part where we look at the impact of the tools, I wanted to talk about somebody that has had a real impact on my life when I have met them overseas, which is quite a challenge when I've met hundreds of people in my 5 trips overseas. But one person very quickly came to my mind, and I met him the very first time I went to Uganda, and I met him again when I went to Uganda just at the beginning of this year. And his name is Azizi, a young man with a smile you never forget. Now, Azizi lives in Kasese on the border with the DRC in western Uganda. The location of Kasese has meant it has been a place with many, many troubles. A little known, long-running terrorist organisation called the ADF has constantly gone into Kasese and massacred people. Indeed, the church where Azizi now goes, Kasese Baptist Church, just 10 years ago lost over 80% of its members to war. When I went the first time 3 years ago, it was officially a war zone. They didn't tell me that till I arrived, probably a good job. And just a few months ago, devastating floods wiped out again many homes in the community. Kasese has not had the best of times, and in many ways Azizi has had the very, very worst of times. Life at home is never easy in an impoverished community, but Azizi had a quite unique problem in many ways, in that when he was a teenager, a man turned up at his family's home claiming to be his father, and by nature of the home he lived in, that seemed quite feasible. So he was thrown out and ended up living on the streets. Kasese, by nature of being a very rough border town, had many criminal street gangs, and that was really the only future for Azizi. Until that was a man named Isaiah, we'll talk a bit more about him later, who worked at the Baptist Church Skills Centre, found him and asked him what he would like to do with his life. And he said he wanted to be a carpenter. Now, thankfully, Isaiah was one of the carpentry trainers at the Skills Centre and invited him along. And he didn't need to be asked twice. He managed to break free from the gangs, and in 2013 began a year's course in carpentry. At the end of that, he was found an apprenticeship for another 18 months with a local carpenter before setting out on his own. TWAM provided him with the carpentry kit he needed to have any chance of surviving on his own. But of course it's more than that. And he said himself of Isaiah, "Isaiah is my friend and he is my family. I was having big challenges and problems with my family, and he showed me another way." And in many ways that's what TWAM is all about. If we were to look at a life like Azizi's as a young man completely ruined, we might wonder, how do you turn a life like that around? What's it going to cost you? What have you got to do? You might think it's years and years of work, but the great thing about TWAM is that people like Azizi want to turn their lives around. They just need someone to support them, just for a while, just a bit of training, just a toolkit, and they'll do the rest. It's the dignity of giving someone the chance to change their own life. And when you do that, oh my goodness, what they can achieve. And it's a great blessing for TWAM to work with people like Azizi, thousands and thousands of people that say, I want to change my life. And work with people like Isaiah who want to stand with them and support them. When he finished his apprenticeship, he managed to rent a workshop, and he says he worked from 7 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. at night, every day, 6 days a week, to build up a loyal customer base. And he said himself, when I asked him, my situation meant I was totally poor, but now I can manage to do things on my own. The carpentry course was good for me. because I was getting a skill and I'm able to support myself. My life has changed completely since I completed the course. I am now transformed. Now, the next time I met him was 3 years later, and by that time both his fathers had fought over him. He'd gone to court, or been taken to court. He'd had a DNA test, and actually it was found that the second man was his father. So he's now completely away from his original family. His life has been full of challenges. First thing that happened was some thieves broke in and stole all his furniture. Then his workshop collapsed in one of the many storms, and he lost everything except his tools. And being such a positive young man, as a result of that, he had to go and work for someone else to earn a bit more money, and then he got the workshop where I found him once again. The positive thing was no one stole his tools, and that's the difference. Tools give a person resilience. Whether it's a sewing machine for a woman, it's a carpentry kit, a mechanic's kit for generally men, it gives them the resilience that whatever happens, life can go on and get better. And when I met him next time, he said, I have trained many students, I met 3 when I was there, and I try to help them make it. I acquired a skill and I want to give back. So if I see someone in need, or they watch me and see how I have changed, I ask if I can help them too. And all of this is from a carpentry kit that costs us about £45. Now, I don't know about you, I cannot think of any other thing I could give to that would achieve so much. Not just as Easy's life turned around, but a dozen other boys as well who have learned carpentry. But let's finish by going back to Isaiah. In January this year, Isaiah joined TWAM. He's now one of our volunteer development managers. He's working across the whole of Western Uganda, helping people like Azizi, using Isaiah's heart and passion for TWAM and for tools to change life after life after life. It is impossible to get across the sheer impact of tools, the impact of donated tools, the impact of tools which are often going to landfill. But I hope as you've listened to Azizi's story, which is one of tens of thousands we could tell you every single year, as you've seen so much in this TWAM Day, you will realise that tools change lives. And let that message be taken away from this TWAM Day. They're not just tools, they transform lives, like Azizi's every single day. Thank you. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this very special TWAM Day. It's been great for us to plan it and to film it and to show you around Ipswich. We've done it this year obviously because that's life at the moment for all of us, isn't it? But now we've started, don't you worry. We know that even as we start TWAM Days next year again locally, for many of you they're still going to be too far away. So we'll do this again, perhaps showing you somewhere different. So thank you for joining us. Hope we've given you something of the heart and the passion that is TWAM and all our staff and all our volunteers, and we look forward to seeing you again at a TWAM Day here or on YouTube next year. Thanks again. Bye.